Saturday's game the kind of game that you can feel a little better about maybe after a day or two and the frustration of losing wears off? And I know Abe and Marcus talked about how they weren't disappointed at all in the way they played, and that the way they actually played the game maybe bears well for them heading forward and into the tournament.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I thought the way we played the game, our strategies, the way the kids followed through with the game plan, the level of effort, intensity, the desire to get rebounds and really work for them. I mean, a lot of the things we did and that we worked on, we executed really well. But again, we didn't win the game, so it definitely leaves a sour taste in your mouth.
How's Devontae's ankle?
Good. In fact, I don't think it was his ankle. I think it was. I thought it was his ankle, but I think it was more his calf. But he's fine.
Okay. So it has nothing to do with the previous deal he had with his.
No.
Okay.
No.
You guys haven't been a bad free throw shooting team this year, except for the second half Saturday. I mean, is that the kind of thing? Do you even need to address it, or is it just, hey, we missed him?
Well, I addressed it after the game. I mean, like I addressed with the media that we did so many things well, but we can't run from the fact that we made 6 out of 20 free throws in the second half. They made 15 out of 19, so that is definitely one stat that probably played a difference in the outcome of the game. You know, even if we would have made 10 or 11 out of 20, I would have thought, wow, that's just, we're better than a 50 or 55% shooting team from the free throw line. But when you make 30% in the second half, that's a tough one to swallow. I also think, though, it's one of the areas that it's not like you're thinking, well, the kids just weren't focused and they weren't, they just weren't locked in mentally. Like sometimes if you play a game that it's a 20-point game and all of a sudden you miss free throws and the other team comes back, makes a run, and you chalk it up to, we had our opportunities to put that team away, but we just didn't make free throws. We probably lost focus. That was not the case. So I feel good in that, knowing that the guys really stepped up there and tried to make them. It just didn't go in.
UCLA, obviously, unless they win the conference tournament, they're not going to be going to the NCAAs this year. And they were picked to win the conference. They lost Reeves Nelson. Just from an outsider's perspective, what's kind of happened to them?
I don't really dissect other programs. All I know is what you know. And they lost 2 really good players last year, I think, that left early. And then they lost Reeves Nelson, who was also, I think, an all-league player last year, to whatever issues he had going on. But I think Ben Howland's a great coach, and he's had some unfortunate things happen the last few years, and they haven't been winning the way UCLA is accustomed to winning. But I don't really know the details. I look at their players, though, and I know there's some players there that we couldn't even get to visit Washington State. So I know they've got a lot of talent sitting there in their program, and they're capable of beating anybody in the conference. I know that, or I believe that.
The simple reason for anytime someone's got just a crazy lopsided record against one opponent over the history of the series at home is usually because one team is just usually really, really good. But was there anything about Pauley Pavilion that made it harder to play there, and is there any edge for you guys that this game isn't being played there?
Maybe, but I'm not sure. At my age, sometimes I'm not sure the guys really appreciate and respect what UCLA was back in the day. When I say back in the day, when they won all those national championships year in and year out. I look at them still as they were a national powerhouse because I saw those teams play. What I'm saying is I'm not sure that's played a part in the psyche with our kids. At the end of the day, they have not won national championships like they did back in the 60s and 70s, but they have continued to have a tremendous amount of talent on all those teams.
You guys are locked into that opening game in the Pac-12 tournament at noon. Do you have any preference between Oregon State, Arizona State, who your opponent is, or?
Both of those teams, I think, I believe those are the two most difficult teams to prepare for. And I say that because they both play a unique style.
When you guys were invited to the CBI your first year, was that entire conversation after all the conference tournaments have been played and everything?
It was the night after our loss to Oregon in back at the hotel when we met as a team and thought, what do we want to do? And I think the guys, we did not end the season on a good note. We were just, I think, mentally and physically really fatigued, and just didn't have the passion to, okay, let's jump in this tournament that WSU's never even been a part of.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there was, well, I know there wasn't that passion to just keep going on from our student athletes.
I know you've said that feeling's different this year.
Yeah, I think it's different. I believe strongly it's different this year. Our kids are still coming to practice every day, even though we don't have a great record. They're coming to practice every day and really bringing it, working hard. The attitudes have been good. The team chemistry's been really good, and I feel like we keep playing better and better. We lost the game the other night to a team that's in first place, and we were right there until the last couple seconds. And so I think our guys understand that we're playing good basketball, and we continue to go in the direction we want to. So who knows, in the postseason, just like last year, it wasn't the NCAA tournament, but it was pretty exciting to get in the NIT and host 3 more games and win all 3 and get to New York.
Have you had, has there been any conversations with the administration about the financial aspect of hosting that tournament, or will that be all after?
That I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, the financial part I don't know. I know that speaking for myself, we'd love to be in a postseason tournament.
All right. Can I get some questions from the phone now?
Ken, what do you think you have to do to get into a postseason tournament from this point?
Well, when you say postseason tournament, now that there's more than just the NCAA tournament and the NIT, I really don't know. But I've seen other teams, Oregon State a couple years ago, maybe it was Oregon last year. We were invited a couple years ago. And I believe at that time we were 16 and 15 or 17 and 16, something like that. And we're right there again. Right now we are at 14 and 14 with at least 3 games to go. So I've got to believe there's a good chance we would be invited to a postseason tournament.
Now, do you say that, I presume you don't think that, say, worst comes to worst, hope it doesn't happen, but say you finish 0-3, lose your last 3, would you think you had a chance then? Or do you think you need to win, say, 2 the rest of the way?
I don't know. That's what I mean. I'm uneducated on those other tournaments, but I want to say again, like I think Oregon State and Oregon actually had losing records, and the reason I know about them, they're in our conference, and then they went into postseason play and actually did pretty well.
Yeah, Oregon State won the thing a couple of years ago. I think they were 14 and 18 going into the thing.
Right, and then Oregon won it last year.
Yeah.
So I guess that's my point. I don't really know, but other teams out of our conference have had losing records going into it and ended the season on a great note because it gave them new life and more practices, more games. I really think for Oregon, it led right into this season, feeling very confident about what they accomplished last year.
I don't know if you saw it, Ken, ESPN.com had a real nice feature on, am I pronouncing it correctly, the Longdress kid out of Oakland that you guys have coming in?
Yeah, that's.
I know.
I didn't see anything, but I know Richard's doing a good job, having a nice season.
He's on, on his play, and I know when you recruited him, you talked about how good his grades are. I guess his GPA is up to 4.06.
Good.
I think they could have done that if you had all four of my quarters together one time. But that kid I know had the good grades. I know the Shadle kid has got the good grades. Both of them, they both passed their SATs, ACTs. They're set, I presume.
Who are you asking about?
Longdress and the Shadle kid.
Yeah, they're good to go. They've done a great job.
What about the Phoenix kids? What's their status?
Their status right now is they're still trying to get eligible.
How optimistic are you?
I'm optimistic that they will make it and they'll be here next fall.